think it's easy to write this level of detail, it's not, okay? Why don't you just shut up and let me do my video? You don't do shit. You don't do anything but stand there, all right? I write, I record, I edit. You do nothing. Oh, hello. All right, so going solar part 2 or part 3 or part 4, whatever you want to call it, pulling the trigger. Top 5 reasons I'm installing solar on my house. Basically, I signed my contract essentially with Moxie for them to install the system. They say the system will be online by December 1st of this year, 2020. I've made my down payment. The total cost of the system before any federal tax credit is $19,600. I made my 35% down payment of that, which is $6,860, you know, to get things rolling. So, go over why I made that decision. Well, isn't that the point of this video? Top 5 reasons I'm installing solar on my house. Number 1, I want my property to produce. What do I mean by produce? Well, as you may or may not know, your personal residence, whether you rent or own, generally takes money out of your pocket instead of producing and putting money in your pocket via rent or mortgage payment monthly. And if you own, like all homeowners out there know, there's insurance, property tax, maintenance, upkeep, etc., etc., etc. Putting a solar PV, that stands for photovoltaic system on my home with the intent of 100% offsetting my electricity usage, or at the very least offsetting a majority of my electricity usage, is the easiest and first way I want my property to produce for me. Gotta stop putting that in quotation marks. And if you don't know, a solar PV system essentially takes the energy from the sun, or the light from the sun, and turns it into electrical current, or electricity for your home. Number 2, free electricity. Free electricity. Our home is very efficient. It has a geothermal heating and cooling system, great insulation, double pane glass, and is in excellent overall shape. It's one of the main reasons we actually bought the home. People say like, oh, you're so lucky you have this in your home. Well, no, we bought the home for the way it is, we didn't get lucky and figure out like, oh, the home has geothermal, isn't that awesome? No, it's like one of the reasons why we bought it. Anyway, the home's only utility source of energy is electricity. There's no natural gas or propane used in the home. We prefer not to have natural gas. I love this since it essentially limits us to one utility bill a month and there is no hassle of dealing with natural gas. So the last 2 homes we've rented, and in this home, the only utility is electricity. There's no gas, yeah, so there's no propane tank outside, there's no natural gas hookup, nothing. Everything's electricity, which is the way we want it. It keeps things simple. You don't have to mess with, you know, pilot lights and natural gas and a gas line leaking and all that bull crap that goes with it, so that's good. Since I have 2 EVs, my Chevy Volt and my Zero SR motorcycle, that require charging, it only makes sense to generate our own electricity. My solar PV system will cost $19,600 for an 8,000 watt system, or $2.45 per watt. So 8,000 watt system or 8 kilowatt system, 1 kilowatt is 1,000 watts. After the 26% federal tax credit, which in theory takes $5,096 off the purchase price, the cost comes down to $14,504 or $1.81 per watt. Since we hope to live in this house the majority of the rest of our lives, this system should, I say it should because, you know, nothing on this earth is certain, produce essentially free electricity in 8 to 10 years. This 8 to 10 year mark is the estimated payback period for the system, including the cost of the utility service fee. There's a $15 service fee, you know, regardless of how much energy we use. And also the electricity we use from the grid, as this is a grid-tied system. So after the system pays for itself, we will be generating free energy for a good 15 to 20 years or even longer after it has paid for itself. Again, hopefully. So payback period 8 to 10 years, we're hoping to live in this house the rest of our lives. After that payback period, it's going to be essentially free electricity. I mean, it's essentially free electricity from the beginning, but if you count in the initial cost of the system and like paying that back monthly through the electricity that we generate. Number 3 of the top 5 reasons I'm installing solar on my house, the financial benefits. For this point, I'm going to go over 2 things: possible long-term savings or revenue, whatever you want to call it, over 25 years, and the increase in our home's value. Now, I do realize that when Moxie Solar, that's the company doing everything, put my proposal together, they did it with the intent of selling me a solar PV system. However, I do trust their estimates to a degree. And honestly, it's hard to predict what's going to happen a month out, let alone 25 years out. Anyway, they based their proposal on the cost of electricity over 25 years if I don't install solar against the savings over 25 years if I install solar. They estimated the savings at $48,707. That's nothing to shake a stick at. This is taking into account the electricity rate increase over 25 years and the fact that I will be credited the full cost per kilowatt hour that I generate over that time period, which is really cool. But for the fun of it, let's just put some numbers together from today's data for fun. Okay, so let's say the system generates $1,000 a month worth of electricity. Oh, sorry, that'd be awesome. $100 a month worth of electricity. Since I pay roughly 12.7 cents per kilowatt hour, that's 787.4 kilowatt hours generated a month from solar, which is below what Moxie says my system will generate average over a year. You generate more electricity in the summer than you do in the winter, for obvious reasons. Anyway, $100 per month is $1,200 a year, and $30,000 over 25 years. So if nothing changes, that's $30,000 saved, or made, however you want to look at it, over the 25 years. Take the $14,504 cost of the system from that, and I still make money from the system, even though this is probably a low estimate of what will be produced. Just an example. You can play with the numbers any way you want, but the system will save me some money over 25 years, however you slice it. Okay, increase in home value. Because I'm lazy and this number can vary from county to county and state to state, yes, a solar PV system, bottom line, will increase the value of your home. By how much is really up for debate and depends. Any solar company trying to sell you a system will say anywhere from 3 to 5% of the value of the home, or even $6,000 per 1 kilowatt of solar installed. That seems high, like extremely high. That would increase the value of my home by about $9,000 or $48,000 respectively. Maybe by $9,000, but not nearly by $50 grand. That's not happening. Point being that solar makes your home more valuable for a good reason. Your home becomes a generator, essentially. Oh, and where I live, that increase in property value is not counted towards the appraised value for property tax purposes. It is a solar deduction that my county offers. Number 4, it would be stupid not to. This top 5 list is a subjective list. Yes, we don't live in the most solar-friendly area of the US. We live in northeastern Indiana. When it comes to solar days, angle of the sun, length of the seasons, etc. But the roof on our house is ideal for a solar PV system. It faces directly south, which is what you want, and has zero shade minus a little from our chimney during the evenings. Looking at the long-term financial reasons combined with the geography of our home, it just would be plain stupid not to. Number 5, it's just cool, or hot, or electrifying. Dad jokes. Yeah. How awesome is it to generate your own electricity from the sun on your own property? I mean, why wouldn't you want to do this? Don't you love rhetorical questions? I imagine once the system starts generating energy that we then use, it will be a similar feeling to the first time I drove a Prius. See, when you slow down and come to a stop, a Prius goes into EV mode, or electric vehicle mode, where the engine shuts off and the car runs on its electric motor only. Though you have to drive very slowly to stay in EV mode, the car does propel itself down the road using only electricity. When I first test drove our old 2013 Prius and I realized I was cruising down the road without burning gas, it was an epiphany. It was like, why aren't we all doing this? It just makes sense since it is more economical and thus saves you money. Unfortunately, and I'm getting off track, doing things like driving electric vehicles and installing solar PV have become politicized instead of just being a logical decision based on long-term analytical thought. Sorry, I'm making too much sense there. I've been called a hippie for driving a Chevy Volt. A Chevy Volt! First thing that person that called me that mentioned to me was, don't you know the batteries in that thing are terrible for the environment? I'm like, I never said I drove it for the environmental aspect. What are you talking about, dude? Same with installing solar. You'll notice this list had nothing to do with the environmental aspects and mostly to do with the financial long-term aspects. Though yes, solar PV is probably greener than coal or natural gas power generation in the long run, who cares? The air quality where I live will be the same whether I drive an EV and have solar on my home or not. Question is, would it be the same if everybody did that? Anyway, I think it's just plain cool to generate my own power from my own house. Enough said. That was my top 5 reasons I'm installing solar on my house. Like this video and subscribe to my channel for more witty, delightful, and amazingly insightful content. Join me next time for the top 5 reasons I retired at age 32. We'll see you next time. Now get out! I said leave, go, get it. Yeah, so how was that? Look, if you're not gonna help with this endeavor, then why don't you just leave? Just get out, just go. I'm sick and tired of you doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Get out, now.